Welcome back. So last time we were talking about gameplay, right? And I wanted to sort of talk more about gameplay. I wonder if I should use these challenges a little. Let's go ahead and do that. So the gameplay is interesting because it does put an amount of emphasis on skill.
The breakers used to come here for target practice. Used to play a little game. See who could bust the most targets and the fewest shots.
So real-time games, right? Ones that aren't turn-based. Ones whose combats are very much like...
He's armed.
Point a thing and shoot. By the way, this is a place where you just practice a single weapon, which is real. These areas are really smart, the way the developers have made them, to make you really like practice a single weapon and get good, so to speak. And it's really cool because they incorporated a lot of ways to do well with these weapons.
A perfect shot just happens.
For example, that was a perfect shot, right? This is something you can do with the bow. When you hold it down, you wait until the character glows, and then that happens, right? And that's really important in this challenge that you do that, because if you just shoot, if you don't hold it all the way, then you don't actually clear the things very fast. And you'll notice on the side here it says shots fired 6, shots fired 7. This is me not using the power shot, and I'm able to take each one in 2 hits, right? And because of my performance, I got second prize. I can claim my prize before I go. Next prize, 5 shots or fewer, right? And I got 2 sort of upgrade materials for that. This third thing is a technique, right? So if I don't care about techniques, if I don't care about my special abilities, then I don't really have to complete this area, right? There's nothing really pressing about it, but if you enjoy
he returns with
some of the skill within the game, then there's something about that practice area, that challenge, that feels really good, right? It's really fun to play, in my opinion. Do damage.
Kid packs a special surprise in every one of those arrows.
When in doubt, go for damage. Challenge.
Kid ain't had enough of the breakers' barracks.
I feel kind of sad that I spoiled for you how to do it, but how exactly do you win this challenge, right? In 5 shots or fewer? Well,
takes practice and a mighty strong bow.
That did 46. That did a lot more than last time. Oh yeah, because plus 50, duh. So you can't clear this area in less than 5 shots. There's just no way. You can try positioning maybe like this, maybe like this, maybe. If there was still the one up here, you could shoot down. In fact, I might do that if I mess this up. I don't think that was actually a power shot. If it's not a power shot, obviously, it doesn't go through all of them.
He's feeling real proud of that show.
Woo! And now we've cleared this area. I wonder if I can actually restart it still. So this thing here is restart. It's pretty cool. There's no prizes, but you know. But you can see that if I'm trying to do something like this, right? It doesn't work. Oh, I have enough power on my bow now with the upgrade that I don't need to use power shot as long as I just pull it far back enough. That's cool. But it just doesn't work with 5 shots or fewer unless you use power shot the first time, right? Now, you can upgrade and suddenly that doesn't matter, but it's a good way to teach you, right? And I think that's really interesting. What's also really interesting is how they use space, because they are an isometric game.
I almost don't believe it when he says he passed the breakers.
Oh, I should go over here, huh?
The breakers, ain't no one can outrun them, or their arrows. Fetching fizz is like a mouthful of nails, but the benefits are worth it.
So because this is an isometric game, right? sort of isometric. It's, in a lot of ways, it's a 3D game with a very 2D aesthetic. And in a lot of ways, it's a 2D game with a 3D aesthetic, right? Because you can't move up and down, you can't fly.
There's only one way to Cinderbrick Fort.
That's convenient.
The hard way.
I love how they use the falling to, like, break things. There's a guy there.
Sure, the city marshals may be gone.
It's interesting how he's blocked.
But now the fort's crawling with windbags.
Whoa, he got... Shoot. Oh no, that's a friendly. You gotta keep those guys in mind, man. You can't just blindly charge at the enemy. There we go. Bam, bam, bam. There actually is up and down, actually. But my point was that you're not jumping, really, right? I can't get on there. That's super annoying. There's just this thing in the background. This is pretty much my one complaint is this background stuff. Like, I bet you I can't walk on there. Admittedly, it's kind of darkened, so it looks further away, but still. Also, am I being bombarded by fireflies or something right now? What is this? That is going over my character, right? Yeah, it is. You can see, like, the fireflies are going past the kid's face, so it's clearly above me. It's kind of a neat effect.
The calamity was mercy.
Shoot, you're green. You're supposed to be on my side. Come on now.
The windbags ain't so
That bow
lucky.
does a lot of damage, though. I want to heal up because now that I'm taking like a little bit more damage than before. What is this? There's like some fence or so. Oh my god, there's someone behind me.
They've been left to freeze or starve or face the kid.
Oh, that thing blocks it. Okay. That's actually really cool. So, there's a very clear pattern in Bastion where they provide you a lot of choices with your weapons, right? This is a cool new enemy. They provide you a lot of choices by giving each weapon a little bit of versatility, right? You have your melee range weapon and your ranged weapons, and they feel very different, right? Like, this bow feels so different from the Fang Repeater, so you find one that you prefer. That's really cool, right? This encounter right here, you notice that there were guys firing at me over the wall. I'm talking about two different encounters. First, you have this section where there's people firing at you over a wall, but you're behind cover. So you have the luxury to choose, like, how you want to approach them, or whether to use your shield. You have a luxury of how to deal with the firing gallery, whereas when you have something like a gas pellet charging at you, it feels very different. This was very clearly a single enemy designed so that to introduce you to something new, right? Like, this was basically a tutorial area in the middle of a game, which is something game designers do a lot, and it's always very cool. Let's walk over here. You guys are back, which I actually really don't appreciate. Oh, that counts as cover. Sure, sweet. Gonna abuse my range a little bit. Just kidding. Really? Something really cool about the combat. You can block. If you didn't know that. Nice. This is just a side area. What is? Something should be there. Something should be on that platform. I don't know if like the game messed up or I messed up.
Well, windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort.
Whoa. Young and old, you say? I wonder if that size distinction means anything. For example, some of these are small and some of these are a bit larger. Did they just crush that guy? Did you see that? There was a statue over here, right? There was a statue of a man. And then I walked down and then I came back up and the man was gone? What the heck? Okay, sure.
At least the marshals left the kid a parting gift.
I like how they give you a bunch of rubble here to practice shooting.
Something the windbags just can't handle. Something that'll punch clean through.
This is a pretty fun weapon. Oh, and we even get just a bunch of tiny enemies to make use of this weapon on. Oh, we even get level 3 and plus 2 health, which really isn't much, is it? But here's a pretty fun, satisfying weapon. It's the shotgun, right? You can see at the bottom right there my shotgun ammo, similar to how you would have the Fang repeater constantly spit little arrows.
Windbags ain't much different from normal folks.
You have the shotgun.
All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal.
Some more world type stuff.
The Calamity drove the Windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this very forest.
God, there's so many of these in a row. Do you see how... What I mean by encounters, though? Like, that was designed to do something. It wasn't necessarily designed to kill you, right? This isn't like a user-created level where they're just sending 20 guys at you just to mess with you. Also, there's a secret here, which is quite cool. So they distracted you with like just one box, right? And by the time you reach that one box, this box shows up and it starts spawning little dudes and you're like, oh god, I gotta rush and I gotta take out this box, and then there's a third one and oh my god, whoa, that feels so hectic. And it's just sort of a really good, I'll call it an encounter, right? It's like a Pokemon thing, encounters, but encounter fits very well for what we want to do.
Could have been minding the business.
Now, unfortunately, whoa. Oh, here's a little bit of learning on the fly. These, what was I shielding against? These things, these little orbs, though they move slowly, have a very interesting curve. Oh, I countered that. Sweet. If you guys don't know what countering is, it's just when your shield blocks a thing. Whoa!
Windbags put the kid on notice.
That got me pretty hard. Luckily, I have the thing that gives me continues because I was actually worried about that happening. Oh my god, die. Arsenal?
Windbags can't use the martial supplies, but the kid sure
I guess if you don't want the range, switch to the breaker's bow. I do want to keep the scrap musket though. I don't think it's actually as good as the I don't think it's as good as the hammer. But it's the new weapon. You gotta mess around with the new weapon, right? It's the fun of the game. I find it interesting that the bow doesn't actually have a UI element associated with it like the Fang repeater. We got the Fang repeater before we got the bow, right? In that very first level, we got the Fang repeater as our first alternate weapon, and that had a UI element. Interesting. Ooh, we have this again.
Cinderbrick gave him enough heat and metal to munch on for a while. Well, the fort ain't theirs by right.
Aww.
Can't blame them for wanting it, though.
Nope. Should probably be more careful with this. Yeah, we just tore down the world, but it's okay. The world will stay up for a little bit. Oh god, what happened? What happened there? Oh, I think I must have clicked off the window. Shoot. Now here's some fun parts. You can have a little bit of swarming. Hope you kept the scrap musket that we gave you the option to switch out.
So many of those sorry things hold up inside that old fort.
Is there something over there? Is there a way to get over there? Not that I can see. Oh, unless you circle around. You probably circle around there to some point. Generally, Bastion doesn't do a lot of foreshadowing with its levels, I find. They're doing a lot of corridors right now. Or basically just a lot of areas with several enemies at once just coming at you, you know, however they can. They do this a couple times. They've done this a couple times. but it still feels quite dangerous. Like, I feel like I can still die. Actually, no, I don't. I feel like this is just sort of like working through the rocks, but I can still die. Like, the threat is very real, which is interesting because I'm not sure if you've noticed, but so far we've been entirely facing enemies we've faced before, right? Like, this guy we've faced before, right? That guy by himself was kind of weird, but generally what they do, they get a lot of mileage out of their enemies by sort of reusing them over and over, specifically the gas fellas and the squirts, right? Some of these enemies just sort of show up in one or two areas and that's it.
Kids blasting everything in sight with that newfangled musket.
I should talk more about the narrator too, but you know, it's only so much to talk about, so little time. They get a lot of mileage out of these enemies.
Kids stash grenades as their form if things get even worse.
You have to remember. Oh, he commented on the fact that I had grenades. I wonder if like he comments on whatever you have. Anyways, because you have to design all of these enemies, right? Reusing them multiple times and still having them be effective is really, really great for you as a player. That's a weird prompt to get. Granted, I've not really been using my secret skills. Let's climb up here. This looks dangerous.
Security's plane gone haywire. Windbags gummed
Whoa.
up the works.
Okay, good thing I brought you now. This is actually like the perfect setup, I think, for this level. Sniper. This thing reloads like really fast. Like if they give it a reload upgrade of some sort in the tree, I'd be somewhat surprised because it uploads so fast.
Kid ain't afraid of getting burned.
They didn't even really need a UI element down there. Like, it's fast enough that I feel like you didn't need this, and considering how minimalist their UI is, I don't know, just wanted a really clear indicator, I guess.
They trapped the kid in the middle of the fort's parade grounds.
This looks and feels very dangerous. Now we have sort of the arena style combat. I sort of briefly touched on this, but they're using the gates, right?
Then they bring out Glutus and Glandon and all their scumbags.
So we have two gates, right? Both of which are very clearly closed.
They got something to gain, and only their sorry hides to lose.
Oh god, I just realized we're just like in this mega arena. That's really cool. So take you out. Oh god, I don't have my hammer. I'm not really effectively able to take out the small ones, except by like chance. I'm sort of just shooting in the general direction of the enemies and hoping they get hurt. But I touched on how they use the gates to basically tug into your knowledge of video games, right? You know you can't leave this area until you kill all the enemies. That doesn't need a tutorial. Just because you're a gamer, this is what you've done probably a few times before in Call of Duty.
Kid takes down Glutus. Or maybe it was Glandon.
In Zelda, that sort of stuff. Most notably Zelda, I can think of. But it also sort of switches you from, like, it changes how you think of the game, right?
Finally get the message.
Normally you're thinking of, okay, I need to get to the other side. But when you encounter gates, you switch to, okay, I need to kill all the enemies. And being able to switch up the game, I think, is a really powerful tool for a game designer.
Kid used to dream of getting a marshal's
Because
badge,
you don't want players
but not like this.
to basically get bored of doing the same thing over and over again. So you don't have them do the same thing over and over again. You have them do similar things, but you have variation amongst them. This arena fight is very different from running through those hallways with the crowds of enemies, right?
The Skyway's a welcome sight after all.
And that hallway felt very different from the shooting gallery.
And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort.
So you put all of this together and you get a really good level. And good levels don't come from... Actually, he's about to talk, right? This is a rather long black screen. Is there not a loading thing? There we go. Took a little bit.
Kid shows up just as Ulf's telling me about his own journey to the city.
Ooh.
Zolf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this.
I don't think we'll ask him about stuff. I think we'll ask him about stuff in the next episode. I'll try and keep it so that all of the lore stuff that we can read, I'll try and keep that at the beginning of the videos, okay? At least that's my intention right now. Let's go ahead and build... I guess we just used the shrine. I want to talk more about the shrine, though. A few things I find interesting about the shrine, right? One thing is...
Behold, the Pantheon.
I wonder when I got this. No one bounds the chastened maid save herself. Her shackles are her own design. Interesting. Adorns the city's walls with his likeness.
A Kobe.
Foe shall have vengeance in the throes of death. Oh no, I don't want that one. I know what that one does. So, I mentioned before how I like how they let you basically regulate your own different difficulty. I should emphasize that the reason this is important is because games have had a problem addressing difficulty. I might make a game for an audience of teenagers. You have your target audience, right? And you design your game for that target audience. But games have this unique thing where the games relay a challenge, right? And this is something schools also have to struggle with. Just because you're within a certain age range, you can't guarantee an amount of skill, if that makes sense. So far, I've gone through the entire game relatively unchallenged. I've gotten somewhat close to death. I even got game overed in that last area, right? But so far, I've not really been... The game's been relatively easy. This is something that games have to deal with that movies and books don't. Movies and books don't issue a challenge per se, and while there's still sort of a maturity level you need for a movie or a book, in a game, your skill level actually directly relates to how you enjoy the game. If you've ever played on a difficulty that's just too hard for you, it's kind of fun, you can kind of laugh at it, but at the same time it's also not fun, right? It's not fun to just get pounded into the ground and lose again and again and again, and then just sort of being forced to admit to yourself, alright, I need to lower this difficulty, right? In a lot of ways, it's just kind of frustrating to us, I feel. So, a way to negate this is to let the player pick. Are you feeling challenged? Then go ahead and raise the difficulty, and we'll give you a clear incentive in terms of money and XP, right? I think Pokemon has been struggling with that problem for years, right? Pokemon, with its very much established audience, and then its very much younger, up-and-coming audience, has difficulty with their gym leaders, with their Elite Four, in terms of how hard do we make these people? How hard do we make these areas, right? There's sort of course, the fallback of the players can train to make their Pokemon stronger, right? But that's a game that doesn't let you choose your difficulty, and you can see how hard they struggle because of it. However, if they let you choose your difficulty and you have the wrong difficulty for your skill level, that just ends up to either a sort of lackluster experience that was just too easy and never really challenged you, or it leads to an experience that was just too hard and you felt like you couldn't do anything, right? Why do I have a memorial?
The marshals kept the city's peace. They can rest
Sweet.
Easy now.
Yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm sorry that I've sort of just sat here talking. I shouldn't be sorry though. Here's the thing. I set out with this series with the intention of doing talking. because I want to be a type of Let's Player that's able to show you something new, right? Something you might not have seen on your own playthrough. So yeah, thank you all for watching. My name is, of course, Nujum. Leave your comments down below with feedback, tips, advice, complaints about my laptop because it sounds like it's on fire, which is a little worrying. I'm gonna give this thing a break. I'm gonna turn it off probably. Maybe I'll do some editing, I don't know. Thank you all for watching. My name is, of course, Nujum. We'll talk to these guys in the next episode. Bye.